Perfect. My talk is not quite as cool as fires, but I will try to make it as cool. As we have already heard, there has been a recent IPCC report about climate change that tells us that humankind has just 12 years to take action. Sorry, let me do that. And prevent the worst outcomes of climate change. Some environmental scientists actually believe that this timeline is much shorter. So today I'm going to talk to you about how we can use fashion to reduce our own individual environmental impact and prolong our well-being on this planet. But before we can talk about this, we need to really understand the current fashion industry and the problems that come with it. Fast fashion. How many people have heard about fast fashion? A lot of people, I'm so excited. Okay, so fast fashion is a relatively new business model developed in the late 90s that relies on, number one, selling disposable and trend-based items that encourage repeated consumption, and two, the quick response manufacturing model of production, which prioritizes timeliness to generate the mass manufacture and scale of profits necessary for fast fashion to work. Fast fashion retailers purposely design their garments to be trend-based and low quality so that their customers are forced to return when their garment either falls apart or goes out of style. This linear take, make, waste function on a massive scale is the reason why fast fashion retailers like H&M and Zara actively produce hundreds of millions of garments annually and are often sitting on billions of dollars of unsold clothing. So while fast fashion allows consumers to buy on-trend pieces for the same price as our lunch, what we don't see is that fast fashion has an extremely high hidden cost, and it's the environment and the garment workers that have to pay it. So here are some fun facts for all of you. The fashion industry accounts for 10% of global carbon emissions and remains the second largest industrial polluter, second only to oil, which, hey Alberta. North America alone produces more than 12 million tons of waste in textiles, which is approximately 68 pounds of waste yearly per household. The fashion industry is also a massive consumer and polluter of the Earth's quickly depleting freshwater supply. Cotton is by far the most commonly used natural fiber in the world, yet it requires 2,720 liters of water to make a simple cotton t-shirt. That's how much we normally drink over a 3-year period. Furthermore, roughly 17 to 20% of industrial water pollution is owed to fabric dyes and treatments. And honestly, I could talk about this all day, but I don't have all day. So where do we go from here? I would like to introduce all of you to the slow fashion movement. Not too much unlike its cousin, the slow food movement. Slow fashion is about creating fashion consciously and with integrity, while consuming less and consuming better. The slow fashion movement is a unified representation of all the eco, green, ethical, and sustainable fashion movements, which intends to slow down our rate of fashion consumption. It is a solution to the fast fashion industry, which merges social responsibility and environmental awareness with well-made and timeless clothing. Ultimately, the goal of slow fashion is to get consumers to become more mindful about where they spend their money and think about quality over quantity. So, here's how we can each make a difference. For one, we can lend our voices to the fashion revolution. Has anybody heard of fashion revolution? Okay, so that's also good. Not many of you. So this is why I'm here. The fashion revolution is a grassroots movement that was formed after the tragic collapse of the Rana Plaza commercial building in 2013, Bangladesh. This building housed production factories for several large fast fashion companies such as JCPenney, Walmart, and Joe Fresh. Every April, Fashion Revolution asks consumers to demand for a more transparent and ethical fashion industry by asking their favorite brands and retailers #WhoMadeMyClothes. As this movement has grown and more consumers have joined in, fashion brands have been forced to answer and take accountability. Next, we can change the way we do our laundry. Up to 75% of energy consumption apparel happens after we purchase a garment. So we can change this by washing our clothes less, sorry to the moms. We can also air dry rather than machine drying, and we can use our machine wash on the cold setting. Next, we can shop secondhand and vintage, as re-wearing old clothing actually displaces the need to create new ones and also saves these garments from ending up in landfills. We can choose to spend our dollars at local and small businesses, as they tend to produce less waste and have a smaller carbon footprint. And lastly, we can start investing in our clothing. By investing in our clothing, we are also investing in the environment and the ethical treatment of garment workers. We are also investing in pieces that will ultimately last longer, be loved longer, and stay out of landfills. So as consumers in Canada, we have the privilege of being far enough removed from the environmental and ethical atrocities committed within the fashion industry. However, this doesn't mean that we can and should turn a blind eye. In a world that is currently predicted to become 2 degrees warmer by the end of the century, we have to start being more mindful of where and how we spend our money. Fashion has become more than just a t-shirt on a clothing rack. We need to redefine a relationship to consumption, and instead of buying what we want, we need to buy what we need. And for us to truly be able to transform the fashion industry, we must actively support slow fashion and the organizations that demand better treatment of garment workers and the environment. So thank you. Sorry, I'm a bit over time.